I'm Carmen Claudín. I am associate researcher from CIDOB, which is a think tank devoted to international affairs. I have been a board member of MPG for over 20 years. I cannot say that I found MPG. It's more the reverse. They found me. They were then, 20 years ago, rehearsing, so to say, the MyPEX method, which was a new product of MPG MyPEX with the comparative perspective from different EU member countries regarding to different aspects of migrations. They came across my institution where I CIDOB, where I was working at that time. I was deputy director, and they asked us to organize a session with researchers, policymakers, stakeholders to discuss about this. So I did it very gladly. I mean, it was very interesting, and the idea was extremely interesting, and the approach was not so much the comparative approach in itself, but how to translate it in a document, in a non-boring academic document. So afterwards, I got involved with them, and I was very honored to be proposed to become a board member, although I am not at all an expert on migration. My expertise is more on former Soviet Union, Russia, Ukraine, etc. One of the, at least for me, one of the most distinguished feature of MPG is that it has been one of the first think and do tank in Europe, which means that they already from the start, their research is also devoted to action. And this is very important because I knew a lot, and I still know, a lot of places where, well, thinking is interesting, but very often you think, okay, then what? It is not that you have to give a guide for the action, but you give food for thought for the action, and that is extremely important. And even more so for issues like migration and social integration and social justice at the end, which are issues that are very controversial and are becoming now, unfortunately, more and more polarizing and polarized. So it's instrumental, it's crucial to have a place where to go, so to say, in order to find informed documentation, informed analysis, informed conclusions, orientation, and debate, of course. In a period in which the simplest thinking is supposed to be the best, it's extremely important to make people understand that being rigorous and deep doesn't mean that you are not easy to understand. In this moment, one cannot be very optimistical, and really the way ahead is full of challenging situation. It's probably the more challenging it will be. It is already, but it will be more so, unfortunately, even more challenging, because the world has changed, but not for the best, not for the better, at least not best. Let's leave it in better. And this period ahead will need organizations like MPG very dramatically. It's even more so we need MPG than 10 or 20 years ago or 13 years ago when it was created. It was already extremely useful, extremely timely. It has been fantastic, as I said, in communicating incredibly in a very clear form, very non-easy research and ideas. But now this thing to and do tank will have to maybe give more importance to the impact from the thing to the do, so to say. Because I do think we will have to struggle and to fight. I understood the fight as a fight of ideas, of course. But before we could afford the luxury of, I don't know, like kind of debating ideas on, okay, well, there are people that think so, other think that the immigrant are under human and things like this. Now we really have to fight this idea even more strongly and more decisively. And one of the ways is not, of course, only through the research work of an institution. It's also through our action as citizens. When we vote, when we go to discussions, or when we debate in the market queue line. And so yes, it is already, and it will be an everyday fight in which we need people and institutions like MPG. It's a very right question to raise, because it's not enough to have a good idea. You have to put it in practice. I don't have recipes for that, but I think that, as I said, it starts with us, each of us in our citizen dimension and what we do, but also in the work of the organization, in an organization like MPG, maybe, although MPG is already doing that, but maybe, I don't know, somehow putting more stress on working in network and meeting more often partners from other countries. And also, although problems basically essentially are the same everywhere, but then there are particularities in different countries, which can be useful for another country or for another organization. So something like that, at least, would be, I think, important. Yes, I wish them 30 more years, but keeping this capacity of thinking out of the box.